Alright, next we're going to make our fins. Alright, in order to do your fins, you need to make sure that you've gotten checked off on the safety rules by Mr. Zimmerman. If you need to check that on the website, you can. So, what we're going to do, you need to make sure that when you are cutting, you need to be the only one at your station. You need to pay attention at all times to what you're doing. And try not to be distracted by other people. If you're having problems with that, ask them to leave you alone. The other important safety thing you need to consider is make sure that your knife is sharp. If you don't think that your knife is sharp, ask Mr. Zimmerman to fix it for you. It's much safer to cut with a sharp knife because you don't have to push down as hard. Alright, so what you're going to do, you need to have your balsa wood blank from Mr. Zimmerman. You also need to have your fin template. You're going to have to cut the outsides out of your fin template yourselves. Since you're all in 7th grade, I think you can handle that without me showing it to you. Next, you're going to need a glue stick. And with your glue stick, we are going to glue this template to your balsa wood. You just want to make sure that it's stuck down and it is not going to move on you anywhere when you are cutting out your fins. Now I didn't do a very good job of gluing mine down, so I'm going to restart. This is important. If you don't have your template placed correctly on your balsa wood, your rocket's not going to turn out the way you would like. Alright, need a little more glue on this side. Don't worry, this fin is not temporary. When you're going to use white glue to kind of plasticize these, and then it will work better. Now here I have my blade. I know that it has a sharp, my knife. I know it has a sharp blade. Alright, and I'm going to use my steel rule to make sure that I'm cutting straight lines at all times. I'm never going to pull the knife towards myself. How I'm going to position this is away from my body. I'm going to put this ruler right on the center line. I always cut my center line first. I'm going to take my my knife and I'm going to cut down the middle here. When I'm cutting, I'm using very, very, very light pressure. Alright, and it's okay to cut through here 4, 5, 6, 7 times. Alright, don't push down hard because that could happen, you see. If you get on the steel ruler, it can come back towards your hand and that's not good. One of the worst tech ed injuries I've ever seen was someone who was pushing down on their X-Acto knife very fast. It hit their ruler, it came back towards them, and they had a nasty cut in between their thumb and their forefinger. So make sure you're being careful. As long as you're doing things, you're taking your time, you're being slow. It's very safe. You just need to make sure you're doing that at all times. Now, the first cut I make is to cut these in half. I'm going to put one side away and leave it for a little while. You have 4 fins that come out of this template. You can choose to use 3 if you'd like. It doesn't really matter. Next, I always cut off these pieces of balsa wood. The blanks are always a little bit too small. I'm going to make sure that the knife is away from my body. Alright, I'm going to cut nice and slow, even pressure. I'm not pushing down very hard. I'm letting the knife do the work. Alright, it takes me a few times and that's fine. You see that piece just flies off. That's no big deal. Set that away. You're going to throw that away when you're done with your station. Same thing here. I'm going to cut on this piece. I always cut this small piece next. I'm going to go nice and slow, very, very, very light pressure. Letting the knife do the work. It barely pushed it all. And that piece flew off. I'm going to throw that away when I'm done with it. And then I'm going to cut on this line. It's kind of like in your kindergarten, you got to cut the lines. 2nd grade, I don't know when you learn that. And I'm going to use very light pressure away from my body. This is going to take you a little while, but that's okay. Make sure that you're being precise and accurate. Alright, now should use a little more glue. That piece is off. Okay, you can pull these off when you're done. Alright, you should make sure you get enough glue in there. That was kind of a bummer that happened, but that's alright. Here's one of my fins. If I continue to cut the rest of the lines on my template, I will have all 4 of my fins. 1 came from here, 2, 3, 4 will all be done. If they're not exactly perfect, as soon as you're done, it's not a big deal. You're going to take them, we're going to use a sanding block, we're going to clamp them all together, and we can make them all exactly the same size. We're also going to bevel the edges. So this is just a rough shape of your fin. We're going to work on them a little bit more. When you're done, as soon as you're done at the station, gather your fins, gather all your things. Your knife has to go back inside of this knife block, lay down. Obviously we don't want it pointing up. Make sure you clean everything. Make sure your glue and your ruler are back in the right spot, and then head out the correct way out of the cutting station. Throw everything away where it should be.